win the award for becoming the farthest. He's a state senator from Brewster County, Troy Jackson.
Thank you, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today. This was a really nice trip, and I don't know, becoming the farthest, maybe some of the people in the room. I actually have had the opportunity to work right outside of Greenfield at Pittston Farms. In my time as a logger, I'm a 6th-generation logger, and coming across here today, my partner Lana's here with me, and we were talking about the snow. She said, well, I wonder how, the attendance is going to be. And I said, well, I got a pretty good idea here in Piscataquis County. The people here are pretty hard, and they're probably going to have seen snow before. And so I thought that we'd have a good turnout. So this is great, and I really appreciate it. And it's certainly very appropriate to have it here for Veterans Day coming up tomorrow. I don't know how much you may or may not know about me, but like I said, I've been a logger my entire life. Back in '98, a group of us were fed up with the way that we perceived things to be going with the large landowners in the state, and we tried to get our state and federal officials to do something to try and help us. And what was happening was that the large landowners was using a program that was instituted during the war, whenever a lot of people were obviously gone and served in the country. And it was called the H-2 bonded labor program. It brought in people to pick apples, pick potatoes, blueberries, anything that could spoil in the field. And through time, the large landowners used that program and started bringing in loggers. And back in '98, if you remember, the exchange rate was like 55 cents on the dollar. Of course, the people from Canada have socialized health care, so they don't ask for health insurance when they're employed. And to be perfectly frank, I mean, our background, both our families came out of Canada. I don't have a thing against anyone from Canada, but we just couldn't compete. And I wrote an article times afterward, that age-old story of if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, it doesn't make a sound. And I said, I still don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that if a bonded worker cuts a tree in the forest in Maine, nobody in Augusta or Washington hears it. And that's what happened with us, was that we decided that, we needed to do something. A group of us got together, blocked the border for a week, protesting the use of H-2 workers. And we thought that we're all set. Somebody's going to come because we're a long ways away. They just didn't know that we had a problem. They're going to come and they're going to help us, because that's what the government does. They help you. And what we found out was that the large landowners had lobbyists. They had offices within sight of the Capitol, and they were there keeping it the way it was. The government officials knew very well what was going on, but they just didn't want to do anything about it. So I decided somewhere along that time that I was quite upset with the process. I wasn't actually making a very good living doing what I was. So I decided to run for the legislature. And quite honestly, when I got elected, I was actually an independent. I had the great fortune of being put on the Labor Committee and meeting some people that really were quite important for me as far as to understand what the Democratic Party is about. And within a year's time, I changed to become a Democrat, and I've been so very happy since then that I made that change, because the Democratic Party support working men and women, and that's who I am. That's what I want to do. I've been in the legislature now 11 years, and I've risen to become Senate Majority Leader. So I want to thank the people in this room, because you are the people that helps guys like me and ladies like Shenna get elected to politics. I mean, you are the core of what working men and women have to look to have people get out and help them get elected. But my whole reason for running for Mike's seat is, I love Congressman Mishner right to death. If he'd have stayed as our congressman, I'd have been extremely happy. I would have continued in my role as Majority Leader. But he's made the big decision to run for governor, which we absolutely need to have a new governor. There's no way around it. So with him deciding to do that, you know, I think that just like when I stood at the border in 1998, you know, just like then, I wanted somebody to fight for me. Congressman Mitchell did that in Washington. I want to make sure that we still have someone that's fighting, you know, extremely hard for working men and women. And so I decided that, you know, I would definitely want to take that role on and go and do that. You know, in addition to that, I'm able to actually do whatever I can to help Congressman Mitchell in his race, which I am 100% committed to making sure that he's our next governor. But, you know, the things that are important to me are the same things that they've, you know, since I got started. When we were at the border in '98, you know, a lot of people, some people thought, well, you know, that must have been so exciting and all that. Well, it really wasn't. You know, we'd show up in the morning, we'd block the road, and nothing would happen most of the day after that until they closed the gates off, and then we could leave and go back home. But what I did have the opportunity to do was meet a lot of my actual townspeople. You know, you're trying so hard to make a living for your family that you don't even understand who's alongside you, you know, struggling to make their living also. And one of the young guys that was with us there was Ryan Kelly, and I got a chance to talk to Ryan. He was 21 at the time, and he didn't have health insurance, as I didn't have health insurance. But he had a young daughter at the time, and one of the conversations we had was how much he wanted to be able to have health insurance for him and his family, and which I wanted also. And I remember that conversation. I remember thinking, you know, you're only 21, I was 29 at the time, and you already understand how important it is to have that. A couple of years after that, I got elected to the legislature. In my first year, my mother called and told me that Ryan had gone to work that morning, had his co-workers bring him out of the woods. He got in his car and drove himself to Fort Kent, and about a mile outside of Fort Kent, his car went on the road, and when they got to him, he had died of a massive heart attack at 26. And he had been, what I didn't know was he had been to the emergency room 2 times previously complaining of chest pains. And because of his age and he looked healthy and he had no health insurance, I'm sure that they just said, you know, well, what they did tell him was he had reflux disease, and just take antacid and you'll be fine. But 2 years after that, I had the same problem, and I had been diagnosed with reflux disease too. But I had health insurance, so when I walked into the emergency room in Augusta, and they put a heart monitor on me and found out that my heart was only beating at 27 beats per minute, they sent me to Portland because, you know, they went through all the precautions that they needed to. I'm sure, you know, knowing that I had health insurance made it, and that I looked healthy and all that, they figured that it was okay to, I don't know, I just struggled with that sometimes I wonder if people worry if they don't have health insurance, if they're going to do as much for them. But on my trip to Portland from Augusta, besides Lana and our 2 children, the only thing I could think about was, you know, the last ride that Ryan made. And so those things have always bothered me. You know, we stand on the House and Senate floor this past session debating Representative Davis, Senator Thomas, debating. Everyone in the building has government-sponsored health insurance, but we debate who else is lucky enough to have it. And those things embarrass me, they really do. And they infuriate me at the same time, because I'm here standing in front of you but by the grace of having government-sponsored health insurance. And I don't think it's fair or right for anyone else to have to worry about that. So my campaign is same as it's always been. I think working class people, poor people need to have a voice. I think, unfortunately, in Washington, there's probably even more people like Governor LePage. And you all know how much me and him don't get along. But I'm very much willing to take the same drive and determination of Washington to push back against those same people that shut our Congress down just recently over health care. You know, and this campaign is shaping up to be a lot about compromise. And I love compromise. You know, I'm a simple guy from Allagash, Maine, and I get along pretty good with everyone for the most part. But there's core issues that I don't believe that we as Democrats need to compromise on. I don't think that we should. And I don't think, like I said, that we should feel like we need to. And things like health care, I don't think we should compromise on. I don't think we should compromise on Social Security. That's a contract we made with people that 35, 40 years down the road. What do they do to make up any compromise? There's no way that they can. And, you know, the ability for people to be able to have a healthy and productive life is not something that people should be ashamed of. I mean, it's what we all deserve. I don't begrudge people that are rich. I'm glad for them. But don't hold back or do anything to make sure that poor people can't climb that ladder also. So, anyways, that is a little bit about myself. You know, I always, like I said, I'm so touched by people like yourself doing things for people like myself and Shenna or anyone else. I really do. I appreciate so much what volunteers do for this state and for the Democratic Party. So I want to finish with saying thank you for this morning. It really is a great opportunity. Regardless of what happens to me in this campaign, I mean, I'm very comfortable with where we are. We just got the endorsement of the AFL-CIO 2 weeks ago. A lot of people was concerned about my background, if I could raise money. We had a great first quarter because, you know, I think most people think I'm fairly sincere and honest and they want somebody to fight for them, and that's basically what I do. I mean, that's why the governor likes me as much as he does. So, again, I just want to thank you, and if you do have any questions, you know, some of the things that you questioned, Shenna, I can definitely follow up on, but I just wanted to tell you where I'm coming from, what is in my heart, and thank you for this morning.
Following Jack's question, you're coming from the Allagash, I'm sure that the environment is, and the beauty that we have is so special.
Absolutely.
So, the East-West corridor business is a state dilemma. What do you envision possibly being able to do, or what, first of all, what's your stand? What's your position on that?
Well, you know, the lucky thing about being in the legislature sometimes is that you do have records. Sometimes it's not a good thing, but on the East-West Highway, you know, I stood up on the original bill of giving the $300,000 for the feasibility study. I didn't agree with it then, and I don't agree with it now. You know, I've had meetings with Chinbro about it, and you know, I'm not changing my mind on that. I mean, I don't know how it's you know, productive for anyone in the state, and you know, I already voted against that and actually stood on the Senate floor and spoke against it. So, you know, I'm not about to change my position on that.
Something that I haven't heard, and you might be more of an expert, is if this goes through and we've got trucks full of Canadian local, how is that going to affect the army over there?
Well, you know, I think, and it's hard to give a good answer, probably. I'd like to on this because when I voted on this originally, I mean, I'm a state senator from Mercer County, and everyone in our area is very concerned about how this impacts the state, but we see it as actually shutting us off even more. So, you know, that was certainly on my mind, but there's no doubt about it that for the Canadian trucks, you know, they'll be just bypassing this part of the state. And you know, I can't see that as being a good thing. You know, it just makes it easier for me to get out of the state quicker, and that's been my whole. You know, this past session I sponsored the Buy American bill. You know, I am currently a Maine elected official running for a higher office. I am supporting Maine people. I'm not worried about, I mean, God, I have no problem, like I said, but I mean, I'm trying to put jobs in the state. You know, give people an opportunity to have high-paying jobs with healthcare. You know, working for mill owners in Canada, that's not something that I'm interested in doing. And this road is basically just trying to shorten the time and get our product out of here quicker. I think we should be keeping our product in the state and you know, making high-paying jobs for people that are here.
How do you feel the majority of the legislature feels about this issue? Do you have, you know, a feeling that they're going one way or another?
Well, you know, in the 125th, of course, you know, which was an awful time to be in the legislature, but at the same time, I think a lot of us, I mean, that was the one good thing about the 125th legislature, is that so many of us that maybe had forgotten why we were Democrats certainly found out very quickly what it meant, and anyone that didn't, you know, got left behind and aren't in the Democratic Party anymore. But you know, there was only 15 of us, but we were solidly all 15 against it. Now we have 19, and thanks to work like people in this room, you know, we have the majority back. And you know, we did take a vote on it recently, but I feel pretty comfortable that all 19 of us will be against it again. You know, because it not only is it an environmental issue, it's also a labor issue. You know, our caucus just the unions come out with all 19 of us at 100% voting record for labor issues, which made me extremely proud. I am a Democrat, but I consider myself a labor Democrat, so to be in a leadership position, to have all of us have 100% voting record on labor issues. So to answer your, I think that we would certainly be able to kill any legislation if it was proposed, and that's what I would be working towards anyways.
Senator, do they need legislation to build the ESEF highway?
If they were going to do it on a totally private basis, they wouldn't, but what they would need is legislation to, you know, quite honestly, I don't know how they do it with the being able to take people's land, because you can't do it as a private individual. The state would have to be the one to step in and take, you know, people's land to build a highway. So, you know, I see this as something, I mean, obviously it's been talked about for so long anyways. Yeah, it did get a little bit of a push here when the Republicans had both the House and Senate, but, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that we don't have to be mindful and that you shouldn't be concerned, but I think for the most part, you know, we're in a pretty good position, because I don't see how they can build that as a private company without being able to, you know, have the state take the land for them, so.
I prefer to call it the Canadian troika.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is.
Yeah.
Canadian troika.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know, like, and this is just a side note, I'm sorry to take any more time, but just if you, when I worked at Piston Farms there, it was for Harold Woodward. Now, we lived in Allagash then also, but I'd go 5 hours a week one way, and we had our oldest son Chase, and our youngest one was just a baby. Chase used to hold my hand on Sunday nights. They both slept with us when they were young, because I just liked that. And he used to hold my hand on Sundays because he didn't want me to leave, because I'd be gone for the week. Where we live now, the state owns a considerable amount of land. At the time, they had Canadian loggers cutting on that state lot, and I'd have to drive 5 hours to Piston Farms to find work. So my point is, you know, where we are in Allagash, we've seen a considerable loss of people over time, which is, you know, extremely unfortunate. I don't know how many people, you know, I've actually helped pack their belongings up to leave our area. But if you drive 60 miles further north to St. Paulville, Quebec, there's 275 loads of Maine wood that leaves this state and goes through there every day. And if you look just, like, this is the line, the border for Quebec and Maine, there's 4 mills across that border. And they're all dependent on Maine lumber to provide those mills. There's nothing coming this way. You know, the U.S. Department of Labor says that every million board feet that's sawed, we lose 14 year-round jobs. Well, just at that one border, there's 35 to 50 million board feet being sawed there a year. And that's, you know, over 300 jobs just at that one border that we're losing. And that area has exploded. Whenever I was a kid, there was hardly anything there. So the Canadian shortcut, absolutely. That's what they want. A quicker way to get our product to their market, not to do anything to help us. So that's the type of things that, you know, like just like Congressman Mitchell with, you know, trade and that. I actually chair the Citizen Trade Policy Commission. I think we're missing the boat big time on those issues. You know, we can do things in the state. We may have to do them differently than we did before, but we can still do things. We have great work ethic here. I mean, people, and this crap about 47% of the people don't work, that's, you know, well, again, it's infuriating. I mean, the people in this area, they want to work. You know, there's sometimes being able to get health care, the only way you can get this is through government assistance. So I don't begrudge those people at all. But anyways, I'm probably rambling more than I need to.